Have you ever been part of an agile team that looked perfectly healthy on the surface, but still delivered late, stumbled under pressure, or discovered issues only when it was too late? You probably know this feeling that everything seems fine and then suddenly it isn't. The board looks busy, rituals happen on time, the metrics appear reassuring, yet something doesn't quite add up. And I've lived through those moments a few times in cross functional teams, in debt collection squads, and even in highly instrumented AI projects drowning in data. And I've come to realize that the most dangerous agile failures grow in the distance, they grow in the fog, they grow out of sight, and the team doesn't realize until you've drifted so far from where you thought you were. So in this video, I want to explore the top 5 reasons that agile teams fail without realizing it. And hopefully I'm going to do this without cliches, but look at the real patterns that show up again and again in delivery. These failures, like I said, are subtle, often invisible, but incredibly costly. I'm hoping that once I highlight these for you, you'll be able to avoid them. So failure number 1, confusing activity with actual flow. Teams will often assume the board is moving means that the work is flowing, but these two things are often quite different. In many delivery environments, story points, burn down charts, and sprint commitments will give that illusion of momentum. Teams can hit every velocity target while a release is actually silently blocked because a schema change never left someone's local branch, for example. And watch dashboards just glow with reassuring progress while an actual key task sits in the backlog, completely halting the delivery of real value. And this is exactly what McKinsey meant when he described software delivery as a black box, a domain full of motion but lacking genuine visibility. And until teams measure real flow, cycle time, wait time, cumulative flow, handoff delays, they've got no idea of how much of their progress is actually stagnation just with nice coat of new paint. In Agile, activity is cheap, flow is everything. And if you can't distinguish the two, then failure becomes inevitable long before it's actually visible. Reason number 2, the rituals continue long after the insights stop. So another quiet way that Agile fails is when you have ceremonies with no substance. Teams run stand-ups, retros, sprint reviews with perfect regularity, yet none of these actually shine a light on the work. The stand-up becomes a status recital, as I've talked about before, instead of the flow check it's meant to be. Retrospectives turn into a mild complaining session instead of that structured improvement session. Sprint reviews just end up being presentation of polished pieces of work that might not even be ready to integrate. And I've seen this play out painfully on a number of delivery teams. On paper, everything looks flawless, healthy boards, smooth stand-ups, positive, polished sprint ceremonies, but at the end of the release, half the important features were missing or broken. Hidden dependencies had piled up silently across the branches, and everyone assumed that these were being done by somebody else. The rituals didn't pick this up because they became simply rituals without actual inspection. The flow collapsed. There was no ceremony that was able to surface what was really happening. So again, it's not about the fact that you have all your rituals or you're missing rituals. So in your rituals, your ceremonies stop telling the truth. All right, reason number 3, the shared truth is scattered across too many places. Agile relies on shared awareness, a single coherent understanding of what is going on. But in many teams that gets fragmented. It's hidden in your Slack threads, it's buried in emails, it's in someone's private notebook, it's in someone else's memory, it's in the mental backlog of someone who didn't want to bother anyone. Atlassian research shows that more than half of workers can't find the information they need when they need it. And one of the most shocking statistics yet, 50% of teams only discover their duplicated work after it already happened. When a single source of truth disintegrates, the team stops working as a unit. They drift into local decisions, partial context, and hopeful assumptions. And in that fragmentation, that's where Agile fails. Reason number 4, they collapse under hidden blockers that no one ever logged. Some of the most destructive blockers in Agile never appear on the board. A developer waiting silently for an API key, a requirement sitting in someone's inbox, a handoff that's unclear between teams. Someone is stuck but doesn't want to slow the stand-up down. The deployment is done, but it's still waiting on the verification step that actually lives in someone's head. These invisible cues are where projects really stall. Not the obvious red items, because the obvious items are easy to catch, but the quiet dependencies that no one discussed. I've seen teams with full observability of all their models still stumble because no one realized that a trivial pipeline permission was blocking deployment for days. And that's what makes this so dangerous. Blockers that live in the shadow, compounding silently. It's like a relay race where the baton is dropped between runners, but everyone just keeps sprinting and unaware that handoff never actually happened. So the key takeaway here is that Agile doesn't collapse because there's big blockers. It collapses because the small blockers everyone assumed someone else was handling. And reason number 5, they trust the metrics that comfort instead of the metrics that reveal. And this could be the most dangerous failure of all. Teams love metrics that make them feel in control. Velocity is going up, throughput is increasing, build pipelines passing, code coverage rising. You know that velocity can increase even when nothing important is getting shipped. Build pipelines can pass even when the release remains undeliverable because an invisible dependency is still sitting there unresolved. The dashboard can be glowing green while the project is eroding below it. Parabol reports that a quarter of teams have no meaningful metrics at all, and coaches warn that velocity is one of the most misleading numbers in Agile. It measures movement, not value. So metrics become dangerous the moment they turn from instruments of truth to instruments of comfort. When a team starts to believe the dashboard instead of the lived reality of the work, they lose the ability to course correct. They stop seeing the warning signs, and failure just a matter of time. So those are the top 5 reasons Agile teams fail. And you can see that those are really difficult, invisible reasons. So hopefully it's clear to you now that Agile teams don't fail through dramatic explosions. They fail through drift. They fail when teams mistake activity for flow, when ceremonies lose insight, when truth gets scattered across too many places, when blockers hide in cracks, when the metrics tell a pleasant story instead of an honest one. And because these failures are silent, teams often realize what's happening only when the damage is already done. The solution to this, the team must commit to genuine visibility, real flow metrics, shared truth, open blockers, and dashboards that reveal rather than soothe. The fog will soon begin to lift, and when that visibility rises, the control returns. Teams stop relying on luck and begin to rely on understanding. If this resonated with you, hit like, hit subscribe, share your own experiences in the comments. When have you seen an Agile team fail quietly? What did it look like before anyone realized anything was wrong? Your stories will help others see the fog before they drive into it. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay agile.